Good night, everyone, and welcome to the Business Motivation Podcast. This is episode 3, and we have a special guest with us tonight. His name is Eudraadie Pinnock, the founder of Pinnock's Smart Home Installation. All right, Brother Pinnock, say hello to the people.
Um, Hello everybody. As you know, my as you heard, my name is Eudraadie Pinnock. As some of you might wonder how that spell or where me get it from, it's spell Eudraadie. So it's Eudraadie Pinnock. As Matthew said, I'm the founder of Pinnock Smart Home Installation. I also have a YouTube channel with the same name, a Facebook page with the same name. We never change. So if you like what's going on, you can visit also my Instagram and see my installation, my quality installation and service and all of that.
Okay, calm down, man. going into the plugins right away, as I see. We'll get back to those later on.
Yeah,
Pinnock's smart home installation. I'm sure that there is an interesting story behind it. And
yeah.
for the record, your correct spelling, your name's correct spelling was in the promo. So I think people know how to spell it by now, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, let's just get into the questions, all right? Because of course we've had a lot of business conversations, and you've
Yeah.
been telling me some things that have gone on in your life and how you dealt with the situation. So I hope as we go through this that people will be inspired by your story. um you install cameras and those kind of stuff, so you are very good in terms of the electrical field, right?
Yes. Yes.
What really sparked your interest in that field as a youngster or as a teenager, whatever? What sparked your interest in that field?
Well, what sparked my interest, it was my elder brother by the name of, Junior Pinnock. I remember when I was attending basic school and my father had a stereo. As Jamaican, we call it component, and said he had a stereo and it wasn't working. And I tried to fix it, but I couldn't fix it, it couldn't work. And I went to school and come back and my brother called me and said, you did turn on this. And when I turn it on, it worked. You connect the speaker them and everything played just as well. And I said to him how him fix it, and he started to tell me about transistor and all of that. And it sparked my interest to know that you can take something that is old and repair it, and it, in a sense, it come back to life, and it sparked in my interest right there. And I said, I want to go in the electrical field. And my father is a electrician, so I saw him working. But the truth is, my older brother inspired me, and it started from there. Um, I
Okay.
I realized while growing up that I wasn't. I can't say this now because it's in the past. I wasn't that academic, the maths and English, but I love to use my hand, and I love to fix things. And my mother, I remember my mother telling me, it it doesn't make no sense doing something that you don't love. You must do something that you're passionate about, and when you do that, the work become easy, and you will have fun do it. So I pursue that that area.
All right. That's a lot to unpack. So it seems that you've been interested in fixing, devices ever since a young age. I guess,
Yes.
I guess that came naturally to you, and there's not much one can do to explain that. But getting back to that point that you made about doing what you love, I do advise people that if you have a skill, you have to find a way to monetize it. For those who
Mm-hmm.
watched the last episode, in episode 2, Tyrone was talking about his skill in writing and how he used that to gain some income. So it's basically the same thing that you are doing right now. And I just want to give a slight, message to those out there who feel that, because they're not academic, they're of no use. No, that's not true.
No, not true. Not true.
Not true.
Not
Um,
true.
this young man is an example that, it's not all about being academic, and not everybody is academic. You have to find what you are good at and
Yeah.
work hard on that skill, because at the end of the day, I'm sure that Eudraadie didn't develop all of his skills overnight. You continued practicing, isn't that right, Yudi?
Yes. I practice a lot, and the theory side is important, but the practical side is like a 60-40. So you would have like a 20% of theory, but and the next 60% would have been practical. You always have to have your hand in the work, try to fix it, and don't be afraid to actually fail, because when you fix things and you feel, you can say, all right, this happened because of this, and you jot a note on that. Sometimes when you're practicing, you need to make notes. And by practicing, you write your own notes, and you come up with a conclusion and say, all right, if I do it this way, let's see what happens. And it actually works. So by doing some practical stuff, you actually are more prepared for the world of works. That is my belief.
All right. You said something very interesting there, and we did touch on that in the last episode, and even the first episode as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to watch those, the links will be in the description.
Yeah.
We mentioned learning from failure, and I mentioned that this particular brand of business that I am doing right now, I learned from failure, and I have rebranded a couple times. I mentioned that in the last episode, and that's what we have to do in life in general. We cannot just look at one failure and give up. I know there are a lot of people who have self-esteem issues. They fail at one thing and then they feel that they're of no use. You have to be a bit stronger than that in life.
Yeah.
As Eudraadie said, you have to look at the reason why the failure happened. And if it's
Mm-hmm.
something that you notice, and then you're gonna come up with an idea in order to fix it. In the previous episode, we mentioned patience, and you have to be patient with yourself to learn certain things, and you have to have that self-belief to continue, because things will get rough and things may get boring as well,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to persist with it. Now, speaking of persistence, you didn't always have this business, right? At some
No.
point you were working a 9 to 5, or was it a regular 9 to 5? I don't know. And you
Well,
well, hold on. Persisted with this business despite that. So tell that part of the story. What really give you the inspiration to persist with this, despite having a 9 to 5? Because a lot of people would have the 9 to 5 and they would just be okay, and that would be it. But why did you persist?
all right. So I'm not gonna give call the company name, but I was working at a food processing plant. That's all you will get.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
when I went there to actually be in the electrical department. And when I signed up and they look at my qualification, at the time I only have level 2 electrical installation and maintenance. They said I needed at least level 3, which is a diploma course, to actually get in that department. And I said, all right, okay. But I took on a next department that anybody could do. It's a department that anybody could work. You could take up anybody without subject or anything, and they will just do their work perfectly fine. But when I was working there, the main thing is that this is not what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I came up with a plan, and working at that place, I learned a lot. That sometimes to actually realize what you want, you have to go through some things. You may not like it, but you have to go through some things to actually wake you up and say, hey, this is not you. So
That's
while
true.
working at that place, I worked some hard work. I did some serious, really hard work. And I remember that the hours were so long, right? They're just ridiculously long.
Wait,
I remember
hold on. So it wasn't a regular 9 to 5. You had to do
no,
more than that.
yeah, some more than that. And
Okay.
sometimes even when I come home like 12 o'clock in the night, no, in the morning, sometimes you end up at go work like 7 o'clock in the morning. Because
Wow.
it's a job that anybody could do. So they will just take you and just use you. Not
Wow.
use it in a sense like bad, but because the job is available, and that wake me up and make me realize that you see education a serious something. I
Amen,
want to
brother.
encourage everybody. Education are the key. It might look boy, like school, I'm not like school. Go school here, because many persons don't have the privilege to attend school. So when I was working there, I remember one night I went home and I said to myself, I was working there for 2 years. And for 2 years I haven't did anything electrical. For
Really?
2 years. Yeah man, 2 years, because I didn't have any time to do this and that. I'd practice any electrical work or do some work for people. And I said to myself, remember one night I said to myself, this is not me. This is not me. And I remember that same night I wake up and I sat around this table and I started a plan, because I remember I'm going through something rough, and it give me a wake up call, say one, education are the key, and this is not you. You're doing something, yes, you're getting paid, but at the end of the day, you're tired, you're mashed up. So I said to myself, all right, I'm going to start a plan. So I had two plans. One was to further my education. So that is to get a diploma course in electrical installation and maintenance, which is a broad course. It's actually a step up, a really good step up.
Right, right.
And so that was one of the plan. And two is to go into a field that I really love. And three, I would I would resign. However, before I resign, I have to have a plan. So
Right.
before I wrote down like how many years this will take. I go as far looking into my account and see how much money I had, and see how much money I can actually survive. And family and friend is important. I remember talking to my sister and my families and say, this is what I want. I need some help. And they actually helped me. So the plan was, when I resign my job, where I'm gonna get income from. So the solution to the income is to start going to the field and start to install camera system. That
Okay.
was one. No, how am I going to? So the money part take care of. So I have
Right.
families. I may have one little business on the side. It was a side business at the time. And
Mhm.
two, to further my education. So me need to actually apply to an evening class. So that are the two things. Once me get plan those two things, I'm going to resign. I remember resigning part, I do I come like at the hardest part. I remember when I wrote my resignation letter, and I went to the before I went to the compound, I was standing at the gate and I said to myself, is this right? Should I do this? Because I left my job,
Yeah, man.
and I
Serious, man.
pursue a dream where it sounds possible, but because I can't see in the future, I'm going to the future and come back and say, all right, it's gonna work. You just know. And I remember standing at the gate and the security was asking me, and I come in at the place, I'm saying, soon come. And at one point I remember I walked away. I said, no man, me not do it. And then I stop and say, no man, I have to do it. And I said to myself, all right, yo, me never take a risk in my life, so I will take this risk.
Wow.
Because many people take risks. But many persons take risks, some fail, but the majority pass, were successful because them take risks. You don't know where are you going to, when you're going to be successful unless you take risks. You don't know where are you going unless you take a risk.
True. That is true.
So when I went to the gate and I swiped in my ID and the gate open, man, I said, no, turn back, And I was walking to my department and I saw one of my coworkers and he said to me, what that in your hand? And I say, yo, brother, my resignation letter. And I'm a laugh. And I say, you serious, Pinnock? He say, yeah, man. And it looked panic. It wasn't sealed at the time. So you could have just opened it. And he looking at it and he said, Pinnock, you serious? I'm saying, yeah, man. And guess what? The letter said immediate effect.
Right.
Immediate effect. So I'm going to give them a paper and they read it and say, oh, the next 7 days I go live. It was an immediate effect because the job that I was doing, anybody could do it. So if I leave today, somebody will come back and somebody will take my job the next day.
Right.
It's not like I was an accountant. Accountant important.
Right.
Accountant can't just walk out for the job, so you must send in a letter for him resign because and everybody can do accounting. So the work I do, anybody can do it. And surprise when I hand in the letter and the contractor read it and say immediate effect, and me say, yeah man, immediate effect. And he was kind of sad because as a Christian, we were taught to be diligent in our work. So as a Christian working there, I never get complaint yet. But I always come on time, but I always do my work, but I always do that I was told. Anything they tell me, I do it.
Very good.
Since I was a good worker, so I feel a way and he asked me what. So he said, Pinnock, what are you going to do now? I'm going to tell him my plans. And he looked at me and he said, Pinnock, go on. And he said to me, Pinnock, people like you will have ambition. You're better than this. Go and go pursue your dream. And I can tell you.
We're going further. You said a lot a while ago, and I just want to highlight some of the points that you made. Education is key, right?
Yes.
And that is a general thing in life that people say. But it also applies to the business world. You have to continuously learn while you are running a business, right? Because,
so true.
If you want to improve your business and make it more successful, you have to continuously learn about new methods and new trends and all that stuff. So you have to get into the mindset of learning. And that's why going to school, if you have the opportunity, is a very good thing. Get your education. And if you're not academic, go to
Hard trust
technical
school.
Technical school.
Do something with your life. Yeah.
So those schools train you to use your hands. And you get practice over and over until you're continuously learning. So that's what you have to do when it comes down to that. And you made a good point about having a plan before leaving the 9 to 5 or the whatever hours you were working. And that's extremely important because a lot of people they just do things and they don't
Without a
plan. And
mm-hmm.
we alluded to this in the last episode when I was talking to Tyrone, and he was saying that he's gonna wait until the business is making more than a 9 to 5 before he transitions. And I agree with that. You have to wait
Yeah.
until you're making enough money to sustain yourself at least
Yeah,
before
at
you
least
transition. Right.
serious.
Have a plan and you have to be diligent in executing it because if you stop halfway, what is going to happen? Right. So it was a tough decision for you, a very serious decision, but
Mm,
it's good to always have a support system.
yeah.
In your situation, you had family members who were willing to support your decision, and
Mm,
friends. I mean, I remember us having this conversation,
yeah, man.
and you were telling me that you wanted to leave and pursue the level 3.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, having that level 3 would have opened up the doors to more
Yeah,
opportunities.
man.
So
Holy.
I was one of those who told you to go ahead. And that gentleman that you spoke to that agreed as well, he saw your ambition
Mm-hmm.
and gave you the encouragement to press on. And for those who probably don't have family members that are close to them, find a good group of friends to support you. They often say that you are the summary of your 5 closest friends. So
Mm-hmm.
how successful your 5 closest friends are, or how ambitious they are, it's going to be looked at as a reflection of you. So find a good set of friends that can lead you into the right path. And just to make one more point before you continue, in the first episode, when I was talking to Giovanni, he said that it was a friend of his who encouraged him to do entrepreneurship, and the rest is history. So if you don't have close family members, at least see if you can find a good set of friends, you know, to get you in the right direction. Have a plan before transitioning. And, he made a good point about being diligent in your work, even though you're working for somebody else.
Yeah.
When you leave that job, ensure that they miss you.
Yeah.
Ensure that they're not saying good riddance. Ensure that they miss you. Trust me, it goes a far way. All right, Pinnock. All right, brother Pinnock, you
So
can continue.
so to surprise you and that, my first boss was the was my first client.
Oh,
He was
really?
my first client. And I have some pictures. Maybe in the future I will show you. He gave me two contracts. Two contracts. One at his house, his house, and one at his vacation. Not really vacation home, but he had two properties. And
Okay.
I got those two contracts. And could I tell you, the the money that they were paying me a month, I made that in a day.
Wow,
In a day.
that's
When I saw
crazy.
that, I said, no man, no man. As I said, it was crazy, and that kind of motivate me because because he being my first client, I got many others because I was actually again diligent in my work.
Right.
I make sure everything installed properly, ensure getting the best system for him, and because of my diligence and attitude towards people, I got more clients. And I think I must thank church for that because I got all of that from church in a Christian life, how to be honest and all of that. So
Amen.
so when that happened, I started to get more clients, and then I started class. And to tell you the truth, I at school I was so diligent again. I end up helping people because in the class you had some person who were
Right, right.
slow learners, and I helped most of them, and a majority of us pass, including myself. You have to make sure secure yourself, you know.
Yes, yes.
Always remember this. It's securing yourself is not being selfish. It's
No,
it's
it's just
it's
being
it's
smart.
actually wise. Make
Right.
sure you secure it. So I help myself and help others. And the thing is, you can help people when you don't help yourself. You can't tell anybody about education and you pursue education.
That's true.
You don't have a good education. How can I tell you that school is important and I don't like school? That don't make no sense. So
That's true.
make
That's
sure
true.
you secure yourself before practice where you preach, as we say at church. Make sure you secure yourself. So make sure me secure myself. Me study hard, and it's kind of difficult managing business and school, but it helps you to manage things better because when you do those things, when the bigger challenge comes, you can know how to deal with that.
Right.
So taking up big responsibility, nothing wrong with that. It's actually good for you. It build your memory muscle. It build your mind. You learn more and all of that. And in my field, I meet many people. Many people. I didn't know that I was a people person until I meet many clients. So that's another skill set. How to what is the word?
How to interact.
Market, yeah, and market yourself. And don't be afraid to go places. And when I have discussion with people, bring up your business, tell them that it's this year though. Make it sound like the gospel, although the gospel. But learn how to network. And
Right.
I have this mentality. We have a tendency to do things for 1 year. We say, oh, it not work.
No.
Just give 5 years max. And if it not work, you can do what you want to do. But don't give up. You can't just do something for 1 year. 1 year and because it don't work, you do all the marketing you can, and then it don't work. I remember I started a printing shop, an internet cafe at my parents' house.
Okay.
And 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 I did it for 1 year and it was slow. And I stopped. So I stop at that time I see people start pouring, but I couldn't do nothing. The printer they sell off, the computer they sell off already. So this is my belief. Give yourself a chance for 5 years. 5 years, and if it don't work, fine. But don't 2 year, 3 year, you give up. No, so always don't give up. Always persist and
Persist.
always learn to take risks.
All right. So that was a lot. And I do somewhat agree with your point about being patient with yourself. You said 5 years. Some people, depending on the business, take a shorter time, some even longer. But at the end of the day, being patient with yourself is the real key. Give yourself the time to learn. And if nobody else believes in you, you have to believe in yourself.
Yes.
And I did have a question though. Um, why did you go into selling and installing cameras in particular? Because I know you should be able to install other things and you can fix things
Yeah.
like fans and computers and stuff, but why cameras in particular? I'm very curious about that.
It depends. The reason why I went into that is where the market is.
Okay, very good.
Where the market is. You can't just remember electrical installation is broad.
Right.
So you need to choose your market carefully. Don't yes, you love electrical, but do go into the field where the market is. So there's a lot of market in the security system sector. So people love of security system. It give them a sense of security. I learned a couple months ago that it gives people a certain status in life to have a
Okay.
security system on your home. So I went into that, and when I went into that, I present myself to people like I'm the only one in the world can install a camera system. I
Okay.
tell her
So,
why. I
so
tell her why I approach it that way. I did a lot of research on other companies in Jamaica
right.
and other people, and I actually ask questions. Sometimes I will go into store, and if I have the same system like that a store is selling, I will just go in there. I behave like I buying something, but because I take note of all the prices them. And I say, all right,
Very smart.
and that them I sell it, them price for. And I said to myself, all right, you I'm not gonna know. I'm gonna sell this price that they're selling the system for. All of that one price I go include installation. I remember a client saw me on my Facebook and get in contact with me. She said she want a security system. And she went to a place and they were selling a camera, one camera for 64,000. One camera, you know.
Wow.
Not 4 or 5, one camera. And but to me, I was saying to myself, man, that the camera they're supposed to can see through wall or something. One diggy camera, like hold on. Here's a camera. So on camera, you want example, this. Something like this, they were selling for like 60,000. I said to myself, said, no man. But then again, you can't just say, boy, I never look at people when people set them price. I said to them, say them thief. I take that out of my vocabulary. Don't
Okay.
look at people and say them thief. Just say them expensive. Because if a man setting price, I'm price that we're gonna do camera quote. So I said to her, they, she said them thief, and I said to her, no, you can't say that. A businessman them a do. And if not, they set them price, that's why you have competition. If they set them price, you can't argue, you can go somewhere else. So anyway, she get in contact with me, and the same, I set up a system for her. I sell her a system with 4 cameras for the same 64,000 with installation. And you might ask me, but you did that sound cheap. It's not cheap. The thing is, my supplier affordable. So I get the cheapest supplier them overseas. So when it come into the country, we can actually put a big profit on it, but me just wanted me just wanted that people can afford it. So that's
Yeah.
the thing. So you look at your competitors and you study them. Somebody was saying, I heard somebody say in the business sector, it's like the art of war. But we're not shooting no gun. We just are trying to get more customers than the other. And you have to put you have to be on the ball. You have to do a whole heap of research. So
Right.
me go in a store and like sometimes I go in there, I buy one. The first time I buy one remote, and I was talking to them to the remote. Then the time me I take note of all of the price them. I'm gonna combat that price. I'm gonna get more clients. So at
Wow.
the art of war, if I go, and this is not nothing illegal. Because if I go, every store
Oh,
do it. Every store do it.
right, right.
But who can get the most customers and who can budget more? Because you have some people who can't drop them price too low, because them have overhead, them have bills to pay, all of that. But if I can actually at home cut down on my electricity bill and all that savings put to my business, a customer can get a camera system reasonably, You have to think like that.
That's true.
You have to think like that. You have to spend less and earn more. And then look at something that people not practice.
Hold on, Eudraadie, you're dropping the knowledge, man. I see you have been listening to my presentations on Zoom, right?
Yeah,
Anyway.
man. You have to know those things. You have to always try, as me say, the art business are the art of war. You have to try to get more clients. And
Right.
when you deal with them, make sure them satisfied. I can't tell you how long may I do this now, but say about 2 years now or 1.5. At the moment, I think I installed about 30 or more cameras, and all of those cameras that I installed, only one client had one problem, but it resolved. But the rest, I don't get any problem. The thing is, we have to be knowledgeable at the field where we're in. You have some people, you call them, when you call them jack of all trade, you follow them here. Focus on one trade. And master your craft. Master your craft. As me tell you, sometimes when I approach people, I behave like I'm here alone in that work and do it. Because I make sure master my thing.
You're dropping so much knowledge right now. This is the Business Motivation Podcast, people. This is where you can get the knowledge of how to approach the business world. And of course, I've been presenting these kind of things in the Zoom meetings that I used to have, and those might be coming back. All right, for those who have been following me for a while now, those might be coming back. Yeah, and I said, corporate world is war, business world is war. There's always gonna be competitors out there trying to get, customers from you. And you explained so many things a while ago. You explained benchmarking and all of that stuff that I definitely preach. And you see, but that's the reason why I encourage people to get involved in business, right? Because when you do this kind of thing, you learn things that you thought you never would learn before, and you find yourself doing it, and you might find out that you're actually good at doing it. But anyway, Eudraadie, this has been a very good conversation.
Thank you.
No, thank you for being here on the show and dropping the knowledge. This is the Business Motivation Podcast. This is episode 3. Again, we just want to thank you, Eudraadie, for taking the time out to be on the podcast. Of course, the links to his social media will be in the description. And of course, the links to my social media will be in the description as well. I am Matthew Farquharson, the Business Motivator. And this is the Business Motivation Podcast, episode 3. Stay tuned for episode 4. I'm trying to get a very interesting individual on for episode 4. And one final thing, I'm actually working on a free ebook. Yes. So look out for that announcement. I'll be working on an ebook that would, delve into some of these topics that, we have discussed. So yes, this has been episode 3 of the Business Motivation Podcast. Eudraadie, do you have any final thing to say to the people?
Yes, I have final word. Final word is it's a word of words. Can I use words?
As long as it's not too long.
It's not too long. All right. So master your craft, never give up. Master your craft and never give up. That's all.
All right, very good. Master your craft.
Yeah, man.
Yes, and never give up.
This
is the Business Motivation Podcast. Remember, always stay motivated. All right?
All right.